Hey everybody, aloha, aloha, mahalo to another episode of the Orange and Black podcast. I appreciate every single Flyers fan for giving a chat. I appreciate every Flyers fan for giving a follow. Hit the like and subscribe underneath. That'd be great. Your comments, everything is very much appreciated. Flyers fans have always taken care of me for the past 11 years. I really appreciate you all, and happy holidays to everybody. Sorry I have to do this episode from my car. My house is a Christmas wonderland right now. Snow everywhere. The kids are going nuts. It's just much quieter in my car right now. I'm actually on my way to go get another Christmas ornament that my wife happened to break and drop on the floor. I think everyone's been there from time to time. If you don't celebrate the Christmas holiday, still, I hope everyone has a great holiday. Whatever holidays they, celebrate. Happy holidays, everybody. I appreciate you all. I wanted to come on and got to talk about Mafia Michkov, right? Because if the same thing happens tonight that it did against Vegas on Thursday night, I think a lot of Flyers fans are going to blow the lids. Rightfully so. Michkov shouldn't have been benched in overtime. Actually, as a matter of fact, he was benched later in the game, yet once again in the third period. He was taken off the power play along with Owen Tippett. The benchings just don't make sense. I don't care if he produces. I don't care if he doesn't produce throughout the course of the game. Does he look uninterested at times? Yeah. Is that entirely his fault? No. He's learning a new system under a new coach, and he has a dialect issue. Remember, he is Russian. He does not fully understand or comprehend the English language. So whatever the coaches are trying to tell him during the game, it's not going to compress. It's not going to sit in until after the game, especially if he's constantly being coached that way. I don't see another player being coached that way except for Michkov. And I understand the importance. He's so important to this organization. He's a franchise player. Well, then treat him as such. Let him play in the overtime. 3-on-3, that's his bread and butter. He had 3 overtime game winners last year. Led the team. Actually, led the rookies. Led all rookies in that category. 3 overtime winners. The guy can score and play 3-on-3. I don't care if he's out of shape. I don't care if he's fat. I don't. The excuses are just non-existent anymore. You know, he needs to play, especially 3-on-3 in critical moments, especially under head coach Rick Tocchet, and then he's able to build some confidence. But constantly withholding him in critical key situations does nothing for his development. You know what it does? It sets him back. You know, and it's constantly, and that's a frustration of Flyers fans, and that's my frustration as well. It's 29 games into the season now. Okay, all that mess that happened earlier is in the past. You know, now is now. A quarter of the season is absolutely done, if not a little more than that, and yet Michkov is still constantly being benched. If this were Torts, he would have been fired. He would have been fired game 10. There is no doubt in my mind, if John Tortorella was still the head coach, he would have been terminated. You know, and I think that Danny Briere and Keith Jones are finally like whispering to Rick Tocchet, because he came out today and said, oh, Michkov was the next one. He was going to hit the ice next. Now, we don't know if that's true or not. So you've got to give the man, I guess, a little bit of credit there. And that might be Keith Jones and Danny Briere trying to, settle the fire, per se, in Philadelphia. Are the Flyers a much better team this year? Yes. But there's reasons why they're much better. And Flyer fans don't want to see it because of the way Michkov is being treated. They finally have an elite player in the organization. They finally have a superstar, a young budding superstar in the organization, and is doing nothing but setting him back. Play him in critical moments. Maybe play him on a penalty kill. See what he can do. You know, just because he hasn't done it. Again, there's a dialect issue. The one thing I do give Torts credit for last year was he, at the end of the week, on a Sunday or on an off day, he used his off time to have a meeting with Slava and Michkov, both. So they understood where each other were coming from. And he would air the problems. And then Michkov was able to air problems to Torts. You know, that maybe I'm not saying Tocchet isn't doing that, because I don't know. You know, but Rick Tocchet is a pretty good communicator with the rest of the team. So I find it hard to believe he doesn't have good communication with Michkov. I just think he's confused. I think he's confused at when to go, when not to go, when to do this, when not to do this. And you can't coach him during the game because he's not going to understand it. He just will not understand it. You have to wait until after the game. and then have that, meeting per se. That's what the problem is right now in Flyerland. The progress that they've made is unsustainable. They're succeeding right now because Trevor Zegras is playing out of his mind, who was a great offseason addition. Dan Vladar is playing out of his mind. He was a great offseason addition. And Christian Dvorak is playing out of his mind, too. He has 21 points. He's only 17 points away from a career high, that he set in 2019-20. All three of them have been perfect additions, coupled with the play of Emil Andre, who is exceeding expectations, I'd say, who has definitely made a case to stay within the lineup and not be sent back to Lehigh. When Risto comes back, Ty Murchison and Igor Zamula would be the odd man out. Murchison would go back. Igor Zamula would be waived. Both Cam York and Rasmus Ristolainen are traveling with the Flyers tomorrow on their road trip to Carolina. And heck, who knows? Maybe one of them will play. They wouldn't take him if they weren't thinking that they were close to playing. They're definitely close to playing, either of them. One of them could possibly suit up tomorrow. But that's what's going on in Flyerland right now. Another thing, I give props to Bill Guerin. That took a lot of guts. What a ballsy trade he made, to get Quinn Hughes last night. Minnesota Wild went from playoff pretenders to now contenders in one calendar night. That they took a ballsy move in Marco Rossi, for Quinn Hughes. Rightfully right to do that. Zeb Byam, who the Flyers could have had and selected Jet Luchenko. That just shows you that he's a top tier prospect. Not saying Jet Luchenko isn't, but in eyes, that's what Zeb Byam does. He elevates and he's able to get a player. I mean, what a trade for the Vancouver Canucks. They couldn't have lucked out anymore. Definitely teams knew that they had to move him. Teams knew that he wasn't going to re-sign after his contract expired. Doesn't mean he had to get traded this offseason, but the hands were Quinn Hughes definitely gave the hands to the Canucks, and now they can move on and maybe put forth a better season than what they played. But damn, what a trade for the Minnesota Wild. I mean, that's balls. You want guts and balls. That's it. Bill Guerin swung for the fences. And what now it looks like the Flyers would have had to given up one of Owen Tippett or Travis Konechny, a first, what appeared to be Porter Martone, and possibly Oliver Bonk or Jet Luchenko, one or the other. So that's what would have got them Quinn Hughes. Obviously, the Vancouver Canucks were interested in Owen Tippett, so I think they could have gotten away with trading Owen Tippett. Owen Tippett and Marco Rossi are pretty much comparable. Both are inconsistent at times. Both aren't consistent all the time. Marco Rossi, the flashes are there as a center. I think that's what caught the eye of Vancouver. Hey, finally they had, a first or second line center for them, possibly, maybe even a third line center, if they needed to. But dang, at least Vancouver can move. They get a hell of a prospect in Zeb Byam, who could possibly be, if not even better than Quinn Hughes. So, I mean, they definitely have a building block there. And at Flyerland, it seems that the Flyers are stuck in the mud, developmental wise. And that's why I'm saying it's critical to get Mitchkov some critical moments here and to solidify the fan base and say, hey, we are really moving forward, with this rebuild. We're not stuck in the mud. Because at the moment, it appears that they're stuck in the mud. Because without these offseason additions like Vladar, Dvorak, and Zegras, the Flyers, would they really be excelling right now? No, they would not. It's not like Andre, I think a lot of people expected this from Andre anyway, for him to take the next step in his development. So, yes, kudos to Rick Tocchet for that. I do give him credit for that. Anyone that's, and I give him credit for how he's handled Vladar, and Zegras and Dvorak. Although I would rather see Zegras down the middle. I think Flyers fans know that from me by now. I want him to play down the middle more as opposed to the wing. And that's my aspect, because I want to see if we have him as a top or second line center or not. And the Flyers really haven't utilized him at the center role. So I can't even say now if he's not ready for it. You know what I mean? He's only played 3 games, down the middle. That's not enough for me to say, yes, he can't play down the middle. Prove it first. You know what I mean? And he hasn't been able to prove such. So, but that's it, Flyers fans. I mean, they got 2 big games coming up. Home and home with Carolina here. It starts tonight at 7:00. Very tough Carolina team. Everybody knows how tough they are. They're in the Metro Division, so these are 2 big points tonight, 2 big points tomorrow on the line. Sam Emerson gets the start tonight. Looks like Dan Vladar is going to go tomorrow, and that's good for my fantasy. I think for the Dark Steel will win tomorrow. I know a lot of Flyers fans wanted to see him on the ice tonight, but he will not play as Sam Ersson tonight. Same lineup as tonight. Grunchum's in again. And look for one of Ristolainen or Cam York to play tomorrow night. So it'd be interesting. Flyers fans, love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And let's go Flyers.